Hey guys, we are going to hit Pythagorean theorem again. So if you think back to the last class, we said Pythagorean theorem was a squared plus b squared was equal to c squared, where a was our small side, b was our medium side, and c was our long side, or we also said that that was our hypotenuse. We talked about how to tell whether a triangle was a right triangle or not. Well, today you're going to be given triangles and they're all going to show that they're right triangles. Okay, they have that little 90-degree mark in the corner, but there's going to be a side missing. So we're going to walk through a few together and then I'm going to have some for you guys to try. If we look at this first triangle, so we have this side, we have this side, and we have this side. Well, how do we know what's going to be A, what's going to be B, what's going to be C if we don't have anything here? If I'm just going to mark that as X, I don't know what this number is going to be. So the hypotenuse, guys, on any triangle, so you're drawing this picture for me, okay? The right angle, if you draw an arrow from that right angle, that will always point to our longest side. Okay, so if you take that right angle and you draw an arrow off of it, that will always be our longest side, which is going to be C. So if this arrow, my right angle is here, when I draw my arrow, this is going to be C. So I'm going to put it as C here, but I'm also going to go ahead and write it up here as that C is equal to 13. Okay, as long as we know what the longest side is, it actually doesn't matter which one's A, which one's B. But I mean, if we look at this picture, so this one looks like it's smaller. Okay, you can use some logic here. So this is going to be A. B is what I don't know. That's what we're going to try to solve for using this formula. So now that I know what A, B, and C are, we are going to go ahead and substitute in. So I have 5 squared plus b squared, okay, or you can use x, it is up to you, is equal to c, which is 13 squared. Okay, just substituting those numbers in. So I'm going to use one of these calculators. You can use Desmos if you want to use Desmos. But taking a look at it, we're going to do 5 times 5 gets me to 25 plus b squared is equal to 13 squared is going to be 169. This time we do actually need to solve because we have a variable. We don't know what b is equal to. So I'm going to solve this equation. Minus 25. Minus 25. B squared is going to equal 144. So the opposite of adding is subtracting. The opposite of squaring is square rooting. So I'm going to take the square root here and the square root here. Those undo, just leaving me with b. The square root of 144 is equal to 12. So my triangle, I have 5, 12, and 13. All right, let's take a look at another one. If you guys notice, so I pulled up the Desmos calculator. That way you can also see my calculations as we're going through and solving this. So up first, we want to make sure we know what C is. So if I take my right angle and draw my arrow across, this has to be C. We don't know what C is equal to. There is no number here. But I know then if that's C, A is going to be my smallest. So A is 4. And B is going to be 9. C is what we are trying to find. Okay, again, C is always going to be across from that right angle. So I have 4 squared plus 9 squared is equal to c squared. We don't know what this is yet. This is what we're trying to solve for. So let's go ahead, let's solve it. 4 squared, so that's going to be 4 times 4, gets me to 16, plus 9 times 9. So your calculator also does have this that you can use instead. So 9 squared is going to get me to 81, because 9 times 9 is 81. C is still what we are trying to find. Okay. Let's simplify here. We're trying to get C by itself, so let's simplify. So I can do what is 16 plus 81 is going to get me to 97. So this is equal to 97 is equal to C squared. Now that I only have a number and C squared, I can take the opposite again. I can take that square root. So I'm going to take the square root of 97, and I'm going to take the square root of C squared. So when I do that, I am left with C on the side. And then over here, I've got the square root of 97. We're going to get some decimals, guys. Don't freak out. All right, what we'll do is we will estimate, round it 2 places after the decimal. So I end up with 9.85 for my answer. Okay, so that is how long side C is. Make sure as you're going through this, if you are in class, that you are asking questions if there's something that you are not sure of. Okay, we've got 2 more problems that we are going to look at. So we're looking for what is A, what is B, what is C. Here's my right angle. I'm going to draw my arrow across. So this length is going to be my C. And again, guys, do use some logic here. This is the longest side. Okay, but just to double check, take that right angle, draw your arrow over. That's always going to be C. So C is going to be 11. Oh, and let's go ahead. Let's go back, making answers better. Okay, right now it looks like I have 12 elephants. It could be 12 anything. So let's go ahead. Let's put that label. Okay, we're looking at 12 centimeters. Okay, over here, my triangle was centimeters. So my length should have a unit with it. Okay. So if that's C, it looks like this side is shortest. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is A, since we've been saying A is the shortest side. And I'm going to let B be equal to 6. Okay, A is what we are trying to solve for. That's my short side. There's no number there. We're going to figure out what it is. So A squared, I don't know what A is yet, plus B was 6. So 6 squared is equal to C squared, which is going to be 11. Let's go ahead and simplify. So I still don't know what A is. I'm going to change it to uppercase just so that way we remember it's an A and not a 9. Plus 6 squared, so 6 times 6, or 6 squared is going to get me to 36. So A squared plus 36. 11 squared, again, not 11 times 2, 11 squared. And again, if you want to, there's this exponent of 2 over here on the calculator. Okay, so you can be doing that. 11 squared is going to be 121. We want to get A by itself, minus 36, minus 36. Okay, it's a positive, so let's do the opposite. A squared is going to drop down. 121 minus 36. 121. Just want to double check math. We don't want to make silly mental mistakes. Okay, is going to be 85. Now that all my numbers have moved over, we can go ahead, we can get rid of that exponent. So again, the opposite of adding was subtracting. The opposite of squaring something is square rooting something. So I'm going to take the square root of 85. And so if I come over here, the square root of 85 is going to be approximately 9.22. Okay, A is going to equal approximately 9.22. Let's make sure we remember our units. Okay, that is how long my length is. And hey, if we look at this, 9.2, still shorter than 11. If you solve and get an answer that's longer, then we probably messed up somewhere. If some of you are freaking out because this side was longer, guys, it actually doesn't matter which side is A and which side is B. Okay, as long as C is the longest side, then we're going to be good. We've got one more problem that we are going to look at, and then I'm going to have you guys practice. Okay, so the last one's gonna be a word problem. I know we don't like word problems, but we're gonna draw a picture. We're gonna take it step by step. It's gonna be okay. What is the length of a garden hose that is stretched diagonally, corner from corner, across a yard, that measures 72 meters long and 60 meters wide? Round to the nearest meter. Okay, we're talking about a yard. Let's go ahead, let's get some drawings going. Okay, Jenny, I know you're gonna like this part. So here's my yard. Okay, hi yard. And so my yard is 72 meters long and 60 meters wide. And then we have this hose that's gonna stretch diagonal. Okay, and we're gonna say that it's pulled tight. Okay, so here is my hose. Okay. Because we've got some flowers over here that need to get watered. Okay, so here's my hose. How long is the hose? So this is what we're trying to find out. So I don't know how long the hose is, but if I look here, these two are lining up. That's going to give me my right angle. So A, B, C. Let's figure out what some of these numbers are. Here's my right angle because here's the corner of the triangle. If I draw my arrow across, it's going to point to X. So that means my A is going to be 60. B is going to be 72. C is always across from the right angle. This is what we are trying to find. So I have 60 squared plus 72 squared is equal to C squared. $60 squared. Let's come over to the calculator. So 60 squared gets me 3,600. This could be a long hose. I guess you got a big yard though. Maybe you're living out in Indiana or Kansas with the cornfields. 72 squared is going to get me at 5,184. And C squared is what we're trying to find. What is the length of this hose to water my beautiful flower over here? We're solving. Let's go ahead. These are on the same side. Let's add them together. 3,600 plus 5,184 is equal to 8,784. Come on, pen. This should be an 8. Is equal to C squared, but we are not done yet. Okay, anytime we solve for a variable, the variable had to be by itself. So this variable is being squared right now. Not okay. We need to undo that. In order to undo it, we're going to take the square root. We're going to take the square root. And so coming back to my calculator, the square root of 8,784, guys, use a calculator. Okay, gets me approximately 97, just kidding, 93.72 is equal to C. All right, let's go back. Let's make sure we answer the question. So we wanted to know how long, what is the length of the hose? Round to the nearest meter. So 93 is going to round up to 94 meters. Is the hose length. Okay, we're looking at triangles, but we can figure out how long something is, or we can figure out what the distance is. That's why we're using this Pythagorean theorem.